Jean-Claude Van Damme, famously known as the Muscles from Brussels, didn't just embody the 80s and 90s action movie culture, he defined it. With his striking physicality, grace, and fierce determination, he became a global icon, celebrated for roles in films like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and Double Impact. His martial arts prowess and gravity-defying splits became trademarks, making him one of the most memorable figures in action cinema. But behind the spotlight, Jean-Claude faced a personal journey marked by deep struggles. His early life was defined by insecurity and isolation, where ridicule from his peers pushed him to not only rise above, but transform himself into a force of nature. Despite his fame and achievements, Jean-Claude's greatest battles took place off-screen, against the personal demons that would later shape his life. The formative years, a fight against insecurity born in Brussels. On October 18, 1960, Jean-Claude Van Damme's early life was far from glamorous. His father, a strict accountant, and his mother, a florist, both had solid careers, but their professional stability couldn't shield him from the cruelty of adolescence. Jean-Claude was often teased for his slight build and large glasses, and the lack of confidence he felt as a young boy planted a seed of defiance in him. At just 11 years old, he looked into the mirror and decided that he would not accept a life of ridicule. His journey of self-improvement began in the silence of his room, where he promised himself that he would not remain the object of mockery. It wasn't just about strength. It was about transformation, both mentally and physically, to challenge the limitations others had imposed on him. The early training, discipline above all, Jean-Claude's fight for self-worth didn't start in the ring, but rather in the harsh environment of discipline. Enrolled at the prestigious National Center for Karate in Brussels under the unforgiving tutelage of Master Claude Dux, he found that true strength required not only physical toughness, but mental resilience. For 4 years, he endured rigorous training, where discipline wasn't just an activity, it became his way of life. By 18, Jean-Claude had earned a black belt in Shotokan karate and secured a place on Belgium's national karate team. The constant grind of training stripped away his insecurities and replaced them with an unshakable confidence. But there was more to Jean-Claude's transformation than just martial arts. It was in the quiet corners of his life where the most pivotal moments occurred. Ballet, a surprising choice for strength. At a time when most athletes were focused on weight training and martial arts, Jean-Claude Van Damme made an unconventional choice: ballet. This decision, though met with raised eyebrows, became one of the most important turning points in his life. Ballet not only strengthened his flexibility, but also refined his balance and coordination. The discipline of ballet forced him to confront a different kind of pain, the kind that comes with repetition and controlled grace. It taught him that true strength isn't always visible. It often lies in restraint and precision. Ballet forced him to learn how to endure, how to find beauty in struggle, and how to push through discomfort, a lesson that would serve him well throughout his career. The combination of martial arts and ballet gave him the unique physicality that would later define his action roles. A dreamer in a foreign land, the move to America. By 1982, Jean-Claude Van Damme had decided to leave Belgium behind. Armed with only $3,000 and a dream to become a movie star, he set out for the United States. He arrived in Hollywood with little more than belief in his abilities and a fierce determination to succeed. The journey was far from glamorous. In the early days, he faced rejection after rejection. He didn't fit the typical mold of an American leading man, and his thick accent only made things harder. He found himself taking any job he could to survive, from delivering pizzas to laying floors. The struggle was real. Each day felt like an uphill battle. But despite the setbacks, he continued to push forward. His work ethic became his most valuable asset, and his dedication to his craft never wavered. The struggles of a newcomer. rejections, and persistence. During his first few years in America, Jean-Claude was often dismissed as a foreigner with no real place in Hollywood, but he refused to accept rejection as a final answer. Hundreds of auditions came and went, each one a painful reminder of how far he had yet to go. The doors seemed to close before he could even step through them, and the silence of those closed doors was deafening. But Jean-Claude didn't let these rejections define him. He was used to struggle. He had been fighting battles his whole life. Instead of allowing the disappointments to consume him, he used them as fuel to propel him forward. His belief in himself, though irrational to some, remained his guiding light, even in the darkest of times. That belief would soon pay off in ways he couldn't have imagined. The breakthrough, Bloodsport, and the rise to fame. In 1988, Jean-Claude Van Damme's life changed forever. After years of struggle, rejection, and sacrifice, he landed the role of Frank Dux in Bloodsport, a film that would become his breakthrough. The movie, made on a modest budget of $1.5 million, exploded at the box office, earning many times its cost. The film's success catapulted Jean-Claude into the spotlight, making him a household name. But for him, it was more than just a career milestone. When Bloodsport came out, he felt a deep emotional release. Finally, after all the hardship and sacrifice, he was seen. His dream had materialized, and the boy from Belgium who had once whispered wishes in a quiet church was now a star. He had earned his place, and the applause that followed was not just for the character he portrayed, it was for the man who had endured a lifetime of pain to get there. Building the myth. Kickboxer and the global impact. Following the success of Bloodsport, Jean-Claude's career reached new heights with the release of Kickboxer. The film became a global phenomenon, grossing over $50 million and solidifying Jean-Claude's place in action movie history. His portrayal of the determined martial arts expert Kurt Sloane became iconic, and the famous split kick would become one of his most recognizable moves. With each new film, Lionheart, Death Warrant, Double Impact, Jean-Claude built upon his myth, cementing his status as one of the greatest action stars of the 90s. However, despite the commercial success, the journey was far from easy. Behind the scenes, Jean-Claude was still grappling with personal issues, struggling with relationships, and trying to balance his career with his personal life. The more successful he became, the more difficult it was to keep everything together. The price of fame, personal struggles behind the glamour. As Jean-Claude's career soared, his personal life began to unravel. The demands of constant filming, traveling, and maintaining his action star status took a toll on his marriages and family life. He worked tirelessly, chasing the dream that had once seemed so distant. Yet, in the midst of the accolades and the success, something was missing. His personal life became a series of sacrifices. The empty chairs at the dinner table and the phone calls that never seemed to reach him were signs of the emotional toll fame had taken. Jean-Claude admitted that he had neglected the people who mattered most in his life. The constant pressure to stay at the top, coupled with the isolation that comes with fame, left him weary. The same drive that had propelled him to the peak of success also led to his personal downfall. The strain of relationships, the first marriage and heartbreak. In 1980, at the age of 20, Jean-Claude married Maria Rodriguez. Their relationship started with a sense of quiet steadiness, something Jean-Claude had never experienced before. For a brief time, it seemed like he had found a balance between his ambition and personal happiness. But as his career began to take off, the demands of Hollywood started to pull them apart. Maria stayed behind in Belgium while Jean-Claude pursued his dreams in America. The distance between them grew, and the emotional connection that once bound them started to wither. Despite their love for each other, the pressures of his career and the separation took their toll, and their marriage ended in 1984. Jean-Claude later reflected on this as his first major lesson in the cost of ambition, that success could come at the expense of personal happiness. Lessons learned: the price of success and redemption. Jean-Claude's journey from a small boy in Belgium to an international action star was one of immense struggle, but also profound lessons. His rise to fame was built on resilience, determination, and an unyielding belief in his own potential. However, it also came at a great cost, as the personal sacrifices and the emotional toll of his success shaped much of his adult life. Today, as he reflects on his past, Jean-Claude Van Damme acknowledges both the triumphs and the mistakes. He has become a symbol of not just physical strength, but also emotional endurance. Though his career was defined by action-packed movies, his true battles were fought behind closed doors, where the real test of his strength lay in confronting his own demons.